In the silence of the night, when the world softens and distractions fall away, something ancient inside you stirs. It is not imagination nor fantasy. It is a quiet remembrance of a design older than your name, older even than the first breath you ever took. Every cell in your body carries this secret, waiting patiently for you to notice. The quantum secret that activates healing while you sleep is not hidden in pills, clinics, or laboratories. It is encoded in the very rhythm of your being. You are not broken, and you were never designed to wither in the way society insists is inevitable. Instead, you were created to regenerate, to restore, to return each night to a fountain of renewal that flows beneath awareness. For centuries, sages and healers whispered of this truth in temples, monasteries, and desert caves. They knew that the body is not repaired by medicine alone, but by aligning with the sacred currents of life itself. Yet in the modern age, surrounded by constant noise, screens, and deadlines, many have forgotten what their ancestors held close. We have been taught that healing is mechanical, that the body is fragile, and that aging is nothing more than a countdown toward decline. But what if those beliefs were not facts, but programs written into your subconscious by repetition? What if healing is less about invention and more about remembering what was always inside you? Tonight, as you rest, your body will attempt to do what it has done since your first moment in this world: cleanse, repair, reorganize, and strengthen. But this process does not happen randomly. It listens to signals. It listens to your breath, to your thoughts, to your emotions, and even to the environment you create before sleep. Healing is not forced. It is invited. And the invitation begins with coherence, when body, mind, and spirit begin to hum in the same frequency. Imagine your body as a vast library. Every organ is a shelf, every cell is a book. Within those pages lies not only your genetic story, but also instructions for repair, strength, and renewal. But these books are not read automatically. They respond to intention. They respond to the field around you, the invisible symphony of thought, light, and rhythm. At night, when you surrender to sleep, the library opens. The question is, what instructions are being read? If your last thoughts before bed are fear, stress, or resentment, your body reads those scripts and prepares accordingly. But if your final moments are filled with gratitude, with rhythm, with breath, the books of healing open wide. Science is only beginning to confirm what the mystics declared, that the body is shaped not just by substance, but by frequency. Every tissue glows faintly with photons, tiny packets of light that transmit information at speeds beyond chemistry. This means that when you breathe deeply, when you soften your heart, when you align with peace, you are sending coherent messages into your cells. They are listening even now. They do not wait for medicine. They wait for signal. Think of it this way. Your body is not a machine built of parts, it is an orchestra. Each organ is an instrument, each system a section of strings, woodwinds, or drums. And the heart, that faithful conductor, sets the tempo. When your breath is shallow, when stress scatters your thoughts, the orchestra falls into dissonance, every instrument playing out of tune. But when you slow, when you breathe evenly, when your emotions soften, coherence returns. The music rises again, and the body repairs in rhythm. Healing is not something you chase. It is something you tune into. Consider the night sky. From afar, it looks like chaos, millions of stars scattered randomly across the dark. But beneath that chaos lies perfect order. Constellations, spirals, and galaxies woven into sacred geometry. Your body is no different. On the surface, it may appear random, fragile, even chaotic at times. Yet beneath that, every heartbeat, every neural spark, every division of a cell follows precise ancient mathematics. Spirals, ratios, and rhythms repeat themselves in your fingerprints, your DNA, the curvature of your spine. This order is not decoration, it is instruction. Disease is dissonance, a forgetting of that original geometry. But forgetting is not the end. It is the space where remembering begins. Close your eyes now, at least in your mind, And imagine the rhythm of your breath as a golden spiral expanding and contracting within your chest. Each inhale draws light into your cells. Each exhale releases noise. As you picture this spiral, your nervous system calms, your organs synchronize, and the quantum code begins to activate. This is not wishful thinking. It is how your biology listens. The spiral is not metaphor. It is memory. You were written with this pattern, and every night your body longs to return to it. This is why sacred spaces across civilizations were designed with spirals, domes, and harmonic ratios. The builders were not only architects, they were healers. They knew that geometry restores coherence and coherence restores life. When you walk through a temple, when you stand beneath an ancient dome, when you trace the swirl of a seashell, your body responds with remembrance. It begins to hum with the same rhythm that guides galaxies and guides your DNA. Healing, then, is not new. It is ancient. It is a remembering of the code that never left you. And yet, in the modern world, we are surrounded by dissonance. Artificial lights at midnight, shallow breathing, constant worry, endless distraction. These signals confuse the orchestra. They tell the library to read the wrong pages. They disrupt the spiral. The result is fatigue, premature aging, and illness. But the beauty of this truth is that you are not helpless. With a breath, with intention, with simple alignment, you can restore the code. You can activate healing while you sleep by choosing coherence before you close your eyes. So tonight, when you lay your head down, do not think of sleep as escape. Think of it as ceremony. Let your final thoughts be seeds planted into the soil of your subconscious. Whisper gratitude, not as performance, but as signal. Breathe slowly, not as ritual, but as remembrance. Picture your body glowing, your cells listening, your heart setting the tempo, and trust that the orchestra will play. You are not waiting for healing, it is waiting for you. The quantum secret does not ask you to force, but to remember. Not to invent, but to align. And when you align, you awaken a code so ancient and so powerful that even while you sleep, it will restore you. This is the beginning of your journey, the return to the rhythm that was written into your very bones. There is a moment in the night when time bends, when the border between waking and sleeping softens into something luminous. In that threshold, the body opens its gates of renewal. What most people call sleep is not only rest, it is activation. Beneath the surface of dreams, rivers of energy move through you, cleansing, repairing, and reorganizing every system. It is in this hidden temple of darkness that the quantum secret awakens with the most power. You are not merely unconscious, you are recalibrating, rewiring, remembering. Modern culture often reduces sleep to hours on a clock, a mechanical calculation of how long one stays in bed. But your body is not a machine, and sleep is not just an off switch. It is ceremony, a sacred return to the origin. While you rest, your immune system surveys the body, seeking imbalance and restoring order. Your brain enters its secret rivers of cleansing, washing away fragments of thought that no longer serve you. Your cells switch from daytime defense to nighttime repair. Every breath, every slow heartbeat becomes an instrument in this orchestra of healing. But here is the deeper truth. The quality of that healing is not random. It listens. It listens to the rhythm you set before you fall asleep. It listens to your final words to yourself, to the stories you silently repeat in your head. If those stories are heavy with anger or despair, the night amplifies them. If they are softened by trust, by gratitude, by presence, the night multiplies them into medicine. In this way, you are not only sleeping, you are programming. You are setting the tone of your healing in advance. Consider the breath again. By day, you may rush, hold tension, and forget the depth available in every inhale. But at night, when you intentionally slow the rhythm, your entire nervous system receives the signal. We are safe. Safety is not an abstract idea. It is a biological command. It lowers cortisol, strengthens immunity, and tells your cells to release the burden of defense so they can turn fully to renewal. Imagine it. Trillions of cells, each like a small lantern glowing in harmony, all responding to the single message of your breath. There are cultures that never treated sleep as passive. In some villages of the Andes, before laying down, families would gather around firelight, speaking gentle words, blessing the night as if it were a living presence. They believed that the way one entered sleep determined the quality of life the next day. And though modern science might phrase it differently, the principle remains the same. Entering sleep with coherence is like planting a garden in fertile soil. What grows will be stronger, clearer, more aligned. Now imagine your body as a great cathedral built of light and sound. During the day, crowds enter, thoughts, emotions, obligations, endless noise. But at night, the crowds leave, the doors close, and in that sacred silence, the caretakers arrive. They polish, repair, and realign the stones of your being. This maintenance is not optional. It is essential. Without it, the cathedral crumbles. But with it, you awaken not only refreshed, but transformed. The ancients whispered that the body is not repaired by willpower, but by surrender. And yet surrender is the one thing many resist. We live in a culture that glorifies effort, control, endless productivity. But healing begins not with force. It begins with release. Each night, you are given an invitation to let go of control and allow the deeper intelligence of your body to take over. You do not need to tell your lungs to breathe or your heart to beat. You do not need to supervise your immune cells as they patrol. This intelligence is older than you and infinitely wiser. Trust it, and it will work. Distract it with fear, and it hesitates. This is why the quantum secret is not found in laboratories but in presence. Healing is not unlocked by complexity, it is unlocked by alignment. When you remember to breathe with depth, when you choose gratitude before closing your eyes, when you align your environment with stillness, you give your body permission to return to its blueprint. The blueprint of youth, of clarity, of vitality. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering what you already are. And so tonight, as you prepare for rest, ask yourself, what am I inviting into my sleep? Is it worry? Is it chaos? Or is it coherence? Because while you sleep, your body will amplify the signal you last broadcasted. Choose carefully. Choose kindly. Choose as if every cell were listening, because they are. The night is not an interruption in your life. It is the foundation of your life. And in that foundation lies the quantum secret, that you can activate healing while you rest, not through effort, but through alignment. Now, a gentle invitation for you, listener. If this message resonates with you, if it awakens something inside that feels ancient yet familiar, I invite you to stay close to this journey. Subscribe to this channel, not as a favor, not as routine, but as a declaration that you are ready to remember who you really are. By subscribing, you are not only supporting the creation of these teachings, you are aligning yourself with a community of people walking the same path of remembrance and renewal. And I would love to hear from you, not with a casual comment below, but with something deeper. Before you continue, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I most want to release into the night? Share it in the comments, not just for me, but for everyone who will read your words and feel less alone. Your story may be the key that unlocks healing for someone else. Together, our voices become an echo chamber of remembrance, a living field of coherence. As the night deepens, you enter phases of sleep that most people dismiss as ordinary, but within them lies the most mysterious power of all. Dreaming is not just the mind's theater, it is a bridge between worlds. During REM sleep, when your eyes dart beneath closed lids and the brain lights up like a constellation, something profound occurs. Your subconscious reorganizes the story of your life. Fragments of memory, patterns of emotion, and symbols drawn from the depths are stitched together in ways the waking mind could never accomplish. What seems random is actually intelligence at work, recalibrating you. Think of it this way. During the day, life is like gathering puzzle pieces. Some fit, others seem misplaced, and many remain scattered. But in dreams, the pieces rearrange themselves. Connections form across experiences that once felt isolated. A challenge from last week suddenly connects to a childhood memory, and together they reveal a truth you could not see before. This process is not trivial. It is healing. For when the mind integrates, the body follows. When conflict is resolved in the subconscious, stress eases in the flesh. Ancient traditions honored dreams as oracles, not because they told the future, but because they revealed the hidden present. The shamans of the Amazon, the monks of Tibet, the sages of Greece, they all knew that dreams were more than illusions. They are language, a language written not with words but with symbols. And in that symbolic language, your body receives instructions. A dream of flight may liberate stagnant energy in your chest. A dream of water may release emotions that have been locked for years. To dismiss dreams is to dismiss one of your most powerful tools of healing. Modern science has confirmed what mystics intuited. Brain scans reveal that during dreaming, regions connected to emotion, memory, and learning fire with extraordinary intensity. Neural pathways that were stressed or damaged during the day find alternative routes. It is as though the brain, in its wisdom, refuses to leave any path blocked. Instead, it forges detours, creating resilience. This is neuroplasticity in its most sacred form. And here lies a secret. The way you prime your mind before sleep influences the symbols your dreams choose. Enter with fear, and your subconscious speaks in nightmares. Enter with intention, and your subconscious speaks in solutions. This is why rituals before bed are not superstition, they are technology. Writing down a question, speaking a word of gratitude, meditating on a symbol, these are not quaint gestures. They are keys handed to the subconscious, instructing it where to travel in the night. Countless inventors, artists, and visionaries relied on this. They did not chase solutions with logic alone, they surrendered them to the dream world. And when they woke, the solution was waiting. Your body listens to dreams as much as your mind. Consider this. Stress often manifests as tightness in the gut, the chest, or the jaw. But when the subconscious resolves tension in dreams, the body releases. You may wake lighter, even if you cannot recall the dream itself. The healing happened in silence, but its effects ripple into your day. This is the quantum secret at work. Not linear cause and effect, but non-linear resolution. A shift from hidden levels that manifests in the visible. Let us return to the orchestra metaphor. If the heart is the conductor and the organs are instruments, then dreams are the rehearsal hall where the music is rewritten. Patterns that were clashing by day are rehearsed in new ways by night until harmony is restored. This is why a single night of deep, intentional sleep can feel like rebirth. The dissonance dissolves, the melody returns, and your whole being resonates differently. But here is a danger often overlooked. Our modern world floods the subconscious with distorted signals. Violent images before bed, endless scrolling, news of fear and conflict, all of these become scripts for the dream world. And the subconscious, loyal servant that it is, will play them out. The result? Nightmares, unrest, and shallow healing. This is why protecting the threshold of sleep is not luxury. It is survival. You would never allow poison into your food. Why allow poison into the banquet of your dreams? Instead, choose nourishment. Read words that elevate. Listen to music that soothes. Speak intentions that align with who you wish to become. These are not small acts. They are the very material from which your dreams will be woven. In this way, you become an architect of your healing, guiding your subconscious like a gardener guiding vines toward the sun. And remember, healing is not always comfortable. Sometimes the subconscious brings up old wounds in dreams, not to torment you, but to release you. A dream of conflict may signal unresolved tension ready to be cleansed. A dream of loss may open a door to grief you never allowed yourself to feel. These are not punishments. They are purifications. Trust the process, even when it feels strange. For what the subconscious touches in symbols, the body translates into renewal. When you awaken after such dreams, you may feel different, not lighter immediately, but clearer, as though the air has shifted. Pay attention to these mornings. They are signs that the quantum secret is working, that healing has begun in silence. And over time, these nights accumulate, building resilience, strength, and vitality in ways no medicine can replicate. So the question becomes, how will you enter sleep tonight? As victim, carrying the debris of the day, or as creator, planting intentions in the fertile soil of the subconscious? The choice is yours. And each night you choose wisely, you activate a power older than empires, deeper than oceans, more luminous than the stars themselves. This is the essence of the secret. While you sleep, you are not passive. You are in ceremony. Your subconscious is not idle, it is architect. And your body is not failing, it is listening. Together, they weave renewal into the fabric of your being. Trust this, align with this, and let every night become not just rest, but rebirth. The deeper you journey into the night, the more your body reveals its intelligence. It is not only the mind that dreams, the cells dream too. Every organ follows cycles that mirror the rhythm of the cosmos. The liver, that tireless alchemist of the body, works hardest in the darkest hours, breaking down toxins and transforming chaos into clarity. The lungs expand and contract with greater depth as the night progresses, clearing not just oxygen, but emotion. Even the skin, your largest organ, renews itself most powerfully while you sleep, building fresh layers that will meet the day with resilience. This is no coincidence. Nature designed you to repair in harmony with the turning of the earth. Just as tides rise and fall, just as flowers close and open, your body follows circadian rhythms that dictate when healing is strongest. But here is the overlooked truth. You can either align with those rhythms or fight them. Artificial lights late at night, stimulants taken in excess, restless mental loops, they all pull you away from the tide of restoration. Yet when you choose alignment, you discover that the body does not resist healing. It craves it. Imagine for a moment that your body is a vast city. By day, the streets are crowded with traffic, noise, commerce, endless activity. But at night, the city changes. The workers come out, the streets are cleaned, broken wires repaired, foundations reinforced. The city prepares for another dawn. Your body is no different. While you rest, your immune system functions like guardians patrolling the walls, identifying threats and neutralizing them. Your digestive system slows its work of breaking down and instead focuses on assimilation, ensuring that nutrients reach every cell that needs them. The brain's glial system clears waste, sweeping away fragments that would otherwise cloud your clarity. Yet, how many people sabotage this sacred maintenance with habits that appear harmless? A final scroll through the phone, a late-night argument replayed in the mind, a diet heavy with chaos. These are like vandals let loose in the city at night. They scatter debris, delay repairs, and confuse the guardians. The result? You wake tired, heavy, perhaps even sick, not because your body lacks wisdom, but because the signal was distorted. The quantum secret teaches us that your body is always listening to the environment, both external and internal. Light, sound, thought, and emotion all are messages. And the most powerful time those messages are absorbed is while you sleep. That means your bedroom is not just a place of rest, it is a temple. Every object, every frequency matters. The colors, the silence, the way air moves through the space. All of it shapes the healing ceremony of the night. Consider light. For millions of years, the rising and setting sun was your body's only clock. But in modern times, artificial light disrupts this sacred cue. Blue light from screens signals to the brain that it is still day, delaying melatonin, the hormone that guides you into deep sleep. This is why the ancients rested when the sun fell. They were not lazy. They were aligned. You can reclaim this alignment by dimming lights in the evening, letting candles or warm tones guide you gently into the night. Small changes ripple as great healing. Now consider sound. Noise at night is not neutral. Every vibration enters your nervous system. The clamor of a city, the constant buzz of machines, the hum of electronics. They whisper to your body that it is not safe, that it must remain alert. Healing cannot flourish under threat, but soothing sound, or better yet, silence, tells the body the opposite. Some traditions use chants before sleep, Others used drums. Others, simple humming. They knew that vibration sets the tone. The last sound you hear before sleep becomes the music your cells dance to. And then, thought. Perhaps the most underestimated architect of all. What you choose to dwell on as you close your eyes becomes the blueprint for the night. Do you carry grievances, replay arguments, measure failures? If so, you are feeding your subconscious poison. But if you choose gratitude, not shallow performance but genuine acknowledgement of even the smallest blessings, you are feeding it medicine. Gratitude reorganizes the nervous system, lowers inflammation, and invites coherence. Science confirms it, but your ancestors lived it. Gratitude before sleep is not a trend. It is a code. Finally, emotion. Many try to suppress emotions during the day, believing that avoidance is control. But emotions do not disappear. They wait. And at night, when the defenses lower, they surface. If you allow yourself to feel them, to acknowledge them without judgment, they transform. If you resist, they turn into restless tossing, shallow dreams, or even nightmares. The key is not suppression, but transmutation. By accepting what arises, you allow the night to purify you. Together, these elements, light, sound, thought, and emotion, create the field in which the quantum secret operates. Healing is not only biochemical, it is environmental, it is relational, and you are the architect of the field. You decide if the temple of your rest is cluttered or clear, chaotic or coherent. But do not mistake this for pressure. Healing does not require perfection. It requires direction. Each night is a chance to adjust, to plant better seeds, to invite deeper coherence. Over weeks and months, the body responds with gratitude. It rewards your alignment with strength, clarity, and renewal. The orchestra tunes itself more easily. The city repairs itself more fully. And you awaken not merely surviving, but expanding. You are not fragile. You are not broken. You are designed for resilience. Every night your body longs to show you this truth. The only question is, will you align? There is a mysterious relationship between time and the body that becomes most visible while you sleep. By day you feel the passage of hours like weight, deadlines, responsibilities, and the constant pull of the clock. But by night, time behaves differently. In the stillness of deep sleep, minutes can feel like hours, and hours can collapse into what seems like an instant. This is not illusion. It is evidence that your body does not measure time as a clock does. It measures time by rhythm. Aging, as we commonly understand it, is less about years and more about rhythm lost. When your internal rhythms fall out of alignment with the natural rhythms of Earth, time accelerates in the wrong direction. Stress, resentment, overstimulation, these are distortions of rhythm. They tell your cells to rush, to burn out, to shorten their span. But when you restore rhythm, time softens. Healing accelerates, but aging slows. This is the paradox. To slow aging, you must accelerate coherence. Scientists studying telomeres, the tiny protective ends of your chromosomes, have discovered they shorten under stress. They are like the plastic tips of shoelaces. When they fray, the lace unravels. Likewise, when telomeres fray, cells lose their ability to replicate healthfully. But here is the revelation. Practices that restore rhythm, such as meditation, breathwork, and especially deep restorative sleep, slow the shortening and sometimes even extend telomeres. In other words, sleep is not just recovery. It is biological time travel, allowing your cells to remember youth. Yet this truth was known long before laboratories. Ancient mystics spoke of entering the timeless during deep meditation or sacred rest. They described it as stepping outside the clock where the body reclaims its original design. When you align with this state, you are not fighting age, you are transcending it. The body, given the right conditions, remembers how to renew. Think of water as metaphor. A river that flows freely remains fresh, full of oxygen, alive with movement. But when blocked, it stagnates, breeding decay. Your energy works the same. When thoughts, habits, and environments block the flow, stagnation accelerates aging. But when the flow is restored through rhythm, through breath, through movement, through surrender and sleep, the waters of your being remain fresh. Each night is an opportunity to unblock the flow and restore timelessness. Consider also how cultures across the world associated night with rebirth. In Egypt, the sun's journey through the underworld each night was not destruction, it was regeneration. In Vedic tradition, the hours before dawn were called the ambrosial hours, when spiritual practice was most potent because the world itself was aligned with stillness. These traditions echo the same truth. Night is not absence of light. It is the womb of light. It is the place where life is renewed, where the seeds of tomorrow's strength are planted. But let us go deeper into the mechanics. While you sleep, your pineal gland, a small crystalline structure in the brain, becomes most active. Often called the third eye by mystics, it is responsible for producing melatonin and regulating circadian rhythm. But melatonin does far more than guide sleep. It is also one of the most powerful antioxidants your body produces. It protects DNA, repairs damage, and strengthens immunity. When sleep is shallow or disrupted, melatonin falters, and so does your shield. But when sleep is deep and undisturbed, the pineal gland becomes a fountain of protection, bathing your cells in this biochemical light. Now imagine the body as a vast orchestra, as we described earlier. In this symphony, the pineal gland is like the bell that signals the transition between movements. When it rings clearly, the entire orchestra shifts smoothly into the next section of the music. But when the bell is muffled by artificial light, by late-night stress, the transition is rough and the music stumbles. Your role is not to force the music, but to ensure the bell rings clear. This is why dimming screens, calming the mind, and creating ritual before sleep matter so deeply. You are clearing the bell, preparing the transition into timeless healing. Let us also speak of breath, for breath is the metronome of your inner time. When shallow, rushed, or erratic, it speeds the perception of time, leaving you restless. But when deep, slow, and coherent, it expands time, creating the spaciousness for healing to occur. Try this. Before sleep, breathe in for a count of 6. Exhale for a count of 6. Continue for several minutes. This balanced rhythm tells the heart, the nervous system, and even the DNA itself, we are safe, we are timeless. And under that command, the orchestra plays in harmony. Now consider how emotions tie into rhythm. Joy, peace, and gratitude lengthen perception of time, creating a sense of abundance. Anxiety, anger, and fear compress it, creating urgency. If you fall asleep in compression, the body believes it must prepare for war, not healing. But if you fall asleep in expansion, the body believes it can repair, regenerate, and grow. In this way, emotions are not just psychological, they are biological clocks. This brings us to a profound truth. The way you perceive time determines the way your body experiences it. Believe you are aging rapidly, and your biology follows. Believe you are aligned with timelessness, and your biology listens. This is not fantasy. It is the power of perception, encoded in every system of your body. Sleep is the gateway where this perception is most deeply programmed. So tonight, as you close your eyes, do not simply think of the hours you will sleep. Think of entering timelessness. Think of stepping outside the clock into the womb of renewal. Whisper to yourself, I am safe. I am timeless. I am returning. Let those words sink into the subconscious and let them shape the rhythm of your night. For when you awaken, you will not simply feel rested. You will feel younger, clearer, more alive. The quantum secret is not a trick. It is the remembrance that while you sleep, you can align with timelessness itself. And in that timelessness, healing is not effort. It is nature. There is a mysterious relationship between time and the body that becomes most visible while you sleep. By day, you feel the passage of hours like weight, deadlines, responsibilities, and the constant pull of the clock. But by night, time behaves differently. In the stillness of deep sleep, minutes can feel like hours and hours can collapse into what seems like an instant. This is not illusion. It is evidence that your body does not measure time as a clock does. It measures time by rhythm. Aging, as we commonly understand it, is less about years and more about rhythm lost. When your internal rhythms fall out of alignment with the natural rhythms of Earth, time accelerates in the wrong direction. Stress, resentment, overstimulation, these are distortions of rhythm. They tell your cells to rush, to burn out, to shorten their span. But when you restore rhythm, time softens. Healing accelerates, but aging slows. This is the paradox. To slow aging, you must accelerate coherence. Scientists studying telomeres, the tiny protective ends of your chromosomes, have discovered they shorten under stress. They are like the plastic tips of shoelaces. When they fray, the lace unravels. Likewise, when telomeres fray, cells lose their ability to replicate healthfully. But here is the revelation. Practices that restore rhythm, such as meditation, breathwork, and especially deep restorative sleep, slow the shortening and sometimes even extend telomeres. In other words, sleep is not just recovery, it is biological time travel, allowing your cells to remember youth. Yet this truth was known long before laboratories. Ancient mystics spoke of entering the timeless during deep meditation or sacred rest. They described it as stepping outside the clock, where the body reclaims its original design. When you align with this state, you are not fighting age, you are transcending it. The body, given the right conditions, remembers how to renew. Think of water as metaphor. A river that flows freely remains fresh, full of oxygen, alive with movement. But when blocked, it stagnates, breeding decay. Your energy works the same. When thoughts, habits, and environments block the flow, stagnation accelerates aging. But when the flow is restored through rhythm, through breath, through movement, through surrender and sleep, the waters of your being remain fresh. Each night is an opportunity to unblock the flow and restore timelessness. Consider also how cultures across the world associated night with rebirth. In Egypt, the sun's journey through the underworld each night was not destruction. It was regeneration. In Vedic tradition, the hours before dawn were called the ambrosial hours, when spiritual practice was most potent, because the world itself was aligned with stillness. These traditions echo the same truth. Night is not absence of light. It is the womb of light. It is the place where life is renewed, where the seeds of tomorrow's strength are planted. But let us go deeper into the mechanics. While you sleep, your pineal gland, a small crystalline structure in the brain, becomes most active. Often called the third eye by mystics, it is responsible for producing melatonin and regulating circadian rhythm. But melatonin does far more than guide sleep. It is also one of the most powerful antioxidants your body produces. It protects DNA, repairs damage, and strengthens immunity. When sleep is shallow or disrupted, melatonin falters, and so does your shield. But when sleep is deep and undisturbed, the pineal gland becomes a fountain of protection, bathing your cells in this biochemical light. Now imagine the body as a vast orchestra, as we described earlier. In this symphony, the pineal gland is like the bell that signals the transition between movements. When it rings clearly, the entire orchestra shifts smoothly into the next section of the music. But when the bell is muffled, by artificial light, by late-night stress, the transition is rough and the music stumbles. Your role is not to force the music, but to ensure the bell rings clear. This is why dimming screens, calming the mind, and creating ritual before sleep matter so deeply. You are clearing the bell, preparing the transition into timeless healing. Let us also speak of breath, for breath is the metronome of your inner time. When shallow, rushed, or erratic, it speeds the perception of time, leaving you restless. But when deep, slow, and coherent, it expands time, creating the spaciousness for healing to occur. Try this. Before sleep, breathe in for a count of 6, exhale for a count of 6. Continue for several minutes. This balanced rhythm tells the heart, the nervous system, and even the DNA itself: we are safe, we are timeless. And under that command, the orchestra plays in harmony. Now consider how emotions tie into rhythm. Joy, peace, and gratitude lengthen perception of time, creating a sense of abundance. Anxiety, anger, and fear compress it, creating urgency. If you fall asleep in compression, the body believes it must prepare for war, not healing. But if you fall asleep in expansion, the body believes it can repair, regenerate, and grow. In this way, emotions are not just psychological, they are biological clocks. This brings us to a profound truth. The way you perceive time determines the way your body experiences it. Believe you are aging rapidly, and your biology follows. Believe you are aligned with timelessness, and your biology listens. This is not fantasy. It is the power of perception encoded in every system of your body. Sleep is the gateway where this perception is most deeply programmed. So tonight, as you close your eyes, do not simply think of the hours you will sleep. Think of entering timelessness. Think of stepping outside the clock into the womb of renewal. Whisper to yourself, I am safe. I am timeless. I am returning. Let those words sink into the subconscious and let them shape the rhythm of your night. For when you awaken, you will not simply feel rested, you will feel younger, clearer, more alive. The quantum secret is not a trick. It is the remembrance that while you sleep, you can align with timelessness itself. And in that timelessness, healing is not effort, it is nature. Beneath the surface of your body lies a network so intricate, so alive, that modern science is still only beginning to glimpse its brilliance. It is not the veins, not the nerves, not even the bones. It is the fascia. This silken web of connective tissue runs from head to toe, weaving through every organ, every muscle, every fiber. For centuries, it was dismissed as packaging, as if its only role was to hold the real parts together. But in truth, fascia is an electrical superhighway, a liquid crystal network that transmits information at the speed of light. And when you sleep, this network becomes one of the primary stages where healing occurs. Imagine the fascia as a vast ocean beneath the surface of your skin. By day, stress, poor posture, and emotional tension create storms on that ocean. Waves crash, waters tighten, currents become blocked. But at night, when the body releases into stillness, the storms quiet. The fascia reorganizes itself, rehydrating, untangling, remembering its natural flow. This is not only physical relief, it is quantum restoration. For fascia does not merely hold shape, it holds memory, trauma, tension, even unspoken grief. All of it can become etched into its fibers. And sleep is the time when the fascia whispers back, you can let go now. Some traditions spoke of this as the second nervous system. The Chinese mapped it as meridians, the Indians as nadis. They knew this hidden web carried not only energy but also wisdom. And now, researchers confirm that fascia generates electricity when stretched, compressed, or moved, a phenomenon called piezoelectricity. This means that every movement, every posture, every breath sends signals throughout your body. At night, when you breathe deeply in sleep, those micro-movements send healing currents across the fascia, igniting communication in ways science is only beginning to measure. But fascia does more than connect tissue. It connects experience. Have you noticed how emotions lodge in the body? Anxiety in the chest, sadness in the shoulders, fear in the gut. This is fascia storing memory. And when you sleep, when your body surrenders into stillness, fascia begins to release those stories. This is why sometimes you wake lighter after a night of deep rest. It is not only because muscles relaxed, it is because emotional debris dissolved. Healing is not always visible, but it is always real. Let us also consider mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses within your cells. By day, they burn energy rapidly, keeping pace with your activity. But by night, they shift focus. They repair their own DNA, multiply in number, and restore the energy reserves you will need for the day ahead. This mitochondrial renewal is one of the most vital processes of sleep, for it is these organelles that fuel everything: movement, thought, digestion, even the beating of your heart. When sleep is shallow, Mitochondria cannot repair. Fatigue becomes chronic and aging accelerates. But when sleep is deep, mitochondria awaken like suns in miniature, radiating vitality. Here again, tradition meets science. Cultures that revered the sun also revered rest, seeing both as sources of energy. They were not wrong. The light of day fuels you externally, but the darkness of night fuels you internally. While the sun gives photons, sleep allows mitochondria to catch them, store them, and release them again as life force. Without this rhythm, energy is borrowed, not renewed. And borrowed energy always comes at a cost. This brings us to one of the most overlooked truths of all. Healing is less about addition and more about subtraction. You do not always need more supplements, more routines, more complexity. What you often need is removal of noise, of toxins, of habits that scatter your rhythm. Sleep is the great subtractor. It clears what does not belong, restores what does, and leaves you with the essence of vitality. Like a sculptor carving away stone to reveal the figure inside, sleep carves away the unnecessary so your true design emerges. Consider the role of the lymphatic system, the body's river of cleansing. By day, it works slowly, carried only by movement, flushing waste from tissues. But at night, especially in deep sleep, the brain activates a parallel system called the glymphatic system. This hidden river washes the brain, clearing waste proteins and restoring clarity. Without it, toxins accumulate, leading to fog, confusion, even disease. But with it, your mind awakens clear, sharp, renewed. It is as though sleep sweeps the dust from the library of your mind, leaving every book ready to be read. What is most astonishing is how all these processes, fascia renewal, mitochondrial repair, glymphatic cleansing, are not random. They are coordinated by a field larger than the body itself. Mystics call it prana, ki, life force. Physicists speak of quantum fields. But whatever the name, it is the invisible conductor ensuring that every system plays its part at night. You do not need to direct it. You only need to align with it. And alignment begins with trust. Too often, people go to bed anxious about not sleeping enough, fearing the clock, resenting the rest. This anxiety itself disrupts healing. But when you enter sleep as ceremony, as gift, you step into trust. Trust tells the body, you may release, you may repair, you may remember. This trust is itself a frequency, and frequencies shape biology. So tonight, see sleep not as absence, but as presence. Not as downtime, but as the most important work you will ever do. Close your eyes as if entering a temple, breathing deeply, surrendering the debris of the day. Know that your fascia will release, your mitochondria will renew, your lymph will cleanse. Know that while you dream, the quantum secret will weave coherence through your being. And when you wake, you will not only be rested, you will be reborn. There is a sacred relationship between your body and the elements of nature that becomes most active at night. By day, you are exposed to the sun, to air, to movement and noise. But in the stillness of darkness, the body turns inward and begins to mirror the elements in their most subtle forms. Fire becomes your metabolism, water becomes your circulation, air becomes your breath, and earth becomes the structure of your bones. All of these elements converse in silence while you sleep, weaving renewal into your tissues. Take water, for example. Scientists once believed water in the body existed only in liquid form, but now they speak of a fourth phase, structured water, found inside your cells. This gel-like state acts like a battery, storing energy from light and vibration, and releasing it when needed. At night while you sleep, your body replenishes this structured water, charging your cells like countless tiny crystals. This is why morning light feels so rejuvenating. The body has prepared its water structures to catch the first rays of the sun. Without deep rest, these batteries remain uncharged, leaving you drained no matter how much you eat or drink. Consider also the element of air. Your breath is not merely oxygen exchange, it is electrical rhythm. Each slow inhale, each measured exhale during sleep, sends waves of energy into your nervous system. This is why disruptions in breathing, such as shallow respiration or apnea, can create chaos in the entire body. The rhythm of the breath is the metronome for healing. And when it is coherent, it aligns with the rhythm of the heart, creating a field of harmony that organizes everything around it. Then there is fire. Not the destructive kind, but the quiet flame of metabolism. While you sleep, your body shifts from burning fuel for activity into burning fuel for repair. Growth hormone, sometimes called the youth hormone, surges in the deepest phases of sleep, repairing tissues, regenerating muscle, and restoring bone density. This is not cosmetic, it is survival. Without this nightly surge, the architecture of your body begins to weaken. But with it, you are rebuilt each night, like a house repaired while its inhabitants dream. And finally, earth. The bones of your body are not static, they are living tissue constantly being broken down and rebuilt. During sleep, this rebuilding accelerates, guided by the same rhythms that move tides and seasons. Your bones are not dead structure, they are memory, recording each impact, each emotion, each experience. And at night they are given the chance to release what no longer serves, regaining their strength silently. What is remarkable is how all these processes are influenced by something beyond biology: intention. The ancients practiced grounding rituals, placing bare feet on the earth, touching trees, bathing in rivers, not because they were primitive, but because they understood resonance. When you connect to the earth before sleep, even briefly, your body carries that signal into the night. Electrons from the ground literally recharge your electrical systems, calming inflammation, stabilizing rhythm. This is not mystical exaggeration, it is physics. You are electrical first, biological second. In our modern world, however, most people go to bed disconnected. Shoes block grounding. Screens flood the eyes with artificial light. Noise fills the background. These signals confuse the orchestra of healing. The body longs to repair, but the instruments are out of tune. This is why returning to simple alignment, darkness, silence, gratitude, breath, can create results greater than any pill. You are not fighting biology, you are supporting it. Think of a garden. If you plant seeds but never water, never remove weeds, never align with the seasons, you cannot expect growth. But if you create the right conditions, sunlight, soil, rhythm, the seeds grow naturally. Your body is the same. Healing is the seed already planted. Sleep is the soil. Intention is the water. Alignment with nature is the sunlight. When these elements converge, renewal is inevitable. Now let us speak of sound. You may have noticed that certain music or frequencies calm you instantly, while others create agitation. This is not preference. It is resonance. At night, when defenses lower, sound enters deeper into your nervous system. Ancient traditions used mantras, bowls, or even silence as medicine. They knew the body reorganizes itself according to vibration. Imagine chanting softly before sleep, or simply humming with awareness. The vibration passes through fascia, bones, and organs, reorganizing patterns of tension. And once the body is reorganized, healing accelerates. Even silence itself is a form of sound. In silence, the nervous system finally rests. The absence of noise allows the orchestra to listen to its own rhythm, unpressured by the outside world. This is why the deepest healing often occurs not in activity, but in stillness. And sleep is the greatest stillness you enter daily. It is your nightly retreat into the sanctuary of silence. It is important to remember, healing is not only physical, it is emotional, mental, and even spiritual. While you sleep, unresolved emotions may rise in the form of dreams. They surface not to torment you, but to be witnessed, felt, and released. When you wake lighter after a dream that seemed heavy, it is because the night has transmuted pain into wisdom. Trust this process. It is not random. It is intelligence beyond what the conscious mind can grasp. In this way, sleep becomes a mirror of the cosmos. Just as galaxies spiral, just as seasons turn, your body renews itself through cycles. And when you surrender to those cycles, you join the dance of the universe itself. This is the quantum secret, that you are not separate from the cosmos. You are a reflection of it. Your healing is not isolated in a body. It is the universe remembering itself through you. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, remember the elements. Feel the water in your cells ready to recharge, the air of your breath ready to harmonize, the fire of your metabolism ready to rebuild, the earth of your bones ready to restore. Remember that silence is not emptiness but medicine. Remember that intention is not fantasy but frequency. And trust that while you sleep, you are not simply resting. You are participating in a ceremony as old as the stars. There is a hidden dimension to healing that reveals itself most clearly during sleep. The relationship between your body and memory. Memory is not only stored in the brain, it is imprinted in every cell, every tissue, every subtle vibration of your being. During the day, these memories may be drowned in noise, buried under distractions. But at night, when the conscious mind releases control, the deeper layers of memory emerge, ready to be integrated, healed, or transformed. Think of memory as light trapped in crystal. Each experience, each joy, each trauma leaves a subtle impression in the structure of your body. By day, these impressions influence behavior unconsciously, shaping moods, reactions, and even physical posture. But in the stillness of sleep, your body begins to polish the crystals, releasing what is heavy and amplifying what is luminous. This is why dreams often feel strangely familiar, echoing fragments of forgotten times. They are the psyche's attempt to integrate the scattered pieces of memory into coherence. Modern science calls this consolidation. Neural pathways that carried new experiences are replayed in the silence of night, strengthening what must be remembered and erasing what no longer serves. But what is less understood is that this process is not limited to data. It extends to identity. Each night, while you sleep, you are not just storing memories. You are rewriting who you are. The self is sculpted in silence, one dream at a time, one deep breath at a time. This process is deeply physical. Emotional wounds left unresolved during the day often appear as subtle tension in the body. Tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, a restless stomach. If left unaddressed, these tensions compound, shaping chronic pain or illness. But in deep rest, the body has an opportunity to revisit these tensions and dissolve them. Sometimes this occurs through dreaming. Other times it happens through the pure chemistry of repair. Hormones shift, inflammation lowers, tissues release. What looked like pain becomes signal, and what was once signal becomes resolution. Ancient traditions treated night not only as time for rest, but as time for remembering the soul. In some cultures before sleep, elders would invite their community to speak aloud the events of the day, not as gossip, but as purification. They believed that by releasing the story into the circle, the subconscious would not need to repeat it endlessly through restless dreams. In this way, they prepared the mind for clarity, allowing the night to work fully as medicine. Imagine adopting a small version of this practice in your own life. Before sleep, you write a single sentence about your day, not a diary of details, but a symbolic statement. Today, I learned patience. Or, today, I release anger. This simple act signals to your subconscious. The story is complete. The night may now begin its deeper work. When you wake, you may find yourself lighter, as though you handed yesterday's weight to the darkness, and it returned to you as light. It is also important to understand that the subconscious does not distinguish between imagination and reality, as the conscious mind does. When you visualize yourself whole, peaceful and strong before sleep, the subconscious treats that vision as instruction. It begins to reorganize patterns accordingly, preparing the body to embody what the mind has declared. Athletes have long used this technique to improve performance, but its potential for healing is even greater. Imagine visualizing your heart glowing with light, your cells drinking in harmony, your breath flowing like a river. The subconscious takes these images seriously, planting them deep into the body's memory. This is not fantasy, it is the essence of quantum healing. Information, when paired with intention, becomes transformation, and the night is the most fertile soil for planting such information. The conscious mind, distracted by logic and doubt, has stepped aside. The subconscious, open and receptive, listens deeply, and the body, in its wisdom, begins to obey. Yet many waste this opportunity. They fall asleep replaying grievances, scrolling through endless feeds, absorbing fear from glowing screens. These are also instructions, and the body will obey them. It will store restlessness instead of peace, confusion instead of clarity. The result is fatigue, disconnection, and cycles of stress that seem impossible to break. But they can be broken, not by force, but by choice. By choosing to end the day with coherence instead of chaos, you begin to shift the entire narrative of your life. Consider how even the smallest acts ripple into the night. Drinking water mindfully, breathing deeply, dimming lights, speaking gratitude. These are signals. The body listens. The subconscious listens. And as you close your eyes, the orchestra of healing begins to play in harmony with those signals. You awaken not only rested but transformed, carrying a new memory of wholeness into the day. There is also a collective dimension to this. Your healing is not only for you. Each time you align with peace before sleep, you contribute to a field larger than yourself. Others feel it, though they may never know its source. Just as one candle lights another, your coherence spreads silently. Imagine thousands of people falling asleep tonight with gratitude instead of fear, with trust instead of doubt. The collective field would shift. Healing would accelerate not just individually, but globally. This is why communities once prayed or sang together before rest. They knew that harmony multiplies when shared. Even if you sleep alone, you can enter that field of shared resonance. Whisper words of blessing, not only for yourself, but for others. Imagine light flowing not only through your body, but through the world. In doing so, you step into the larger purpose of the quantum secret, healing that transcends the individual and restores the whole. So tonight, remember, memory is not prison. It is material. And while you sleep, you are free to sculpt that material into something new. Release what no longer serves. Hold close what nourishes. Plant visions of strength, joy, and vitality. Trust that your subconscious will carry them deep, and your body will awaken with their imprint. The night is not absence, it is creation. And in its silence, you are the artist, the clay, and the fire all at once. There is an ancient truth whispered across traditions and now rediscovered by science. The body listens most carefully in stillness. When the world grows quiet and your senses withdraw from the noise of daylight, something profound awakens within. You may think sleep is a passive state, a blank pause between one day and the next, but in reality, it is the most active workshop of your biology, a hidden temple where your cells meet the codes of renewal. To enter this temple, you must first understand the bridge between silence and signal. Every vibration, every breath, every thought you carry into rest becomes a thread woven into the fabric of the night. The nervous system, delicate as a harp string, tunes itself according to those threads. If you end the day tangled in worry, the string vibrates with discord. If you end the day aligned in calm, the vibration carries harmony across every system. This is why silence before sleep matters so deeply. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of presence. The kind that feels like a warm embrace around your chest. You have felt it before, in nature. The stillness of a forest, the hush of a mountain peak, the quiet hum of stars when you look into the night sky. In these spaces, you notice that silence is not empty. It is full of rhythm, full of unseen life, full of the codes your body longs to remember. In sleep, that silence becomes medicine. The subconscious interprets it as safety, and when the body feels safe, it opens. The gates of repair swing wide. Your immune system stops bracing for attack and begins tending to tissues. Your heart softens its tempo, sending messages of calm to every corner of your being. Hormones shift into balance. Inflammation dissolves. Cells that have carried the weight of the day are allowed to lay it down. But noise, inner or outer, steals this opportunity. Imagine going to bed with a restless mind, flooded by news, arguments, or regrets. Your body does not know these are stories. It experiences them as danger. The nervous system stays on guard, the heart beats faster, the breath grows shallow. Even if you sleep, The depth of rest is stolen. The body cannot cleanse fully. The brain cannot wash away toxins. The night becomes survival instead of rebirth. Yet here lies the secret. You do not need perfect conditions to reclaim the night. You only need awareness. A single breath taken with intention before sleep changes the story. One moment of gratitude whispered into the dark can shift the entire field. Silence is not about removing every sound. It is about choosing which signals you carry inward. In ancient monasteries, monks would sit in silence before closing their eyes, not as punishment, but as preparation. They believed silence opened the ear of the soul, that in the hush between thoughts the divine current could be heard more clearly. Modern science now confirms what they sensed. Silence lowers blood pressure, reduces stress hormones, and amplifies brain waves associated with deep restoration. What they called sacred we now call coherent. But the effect is the same. So how can you use this in your own life? Begin by creating a ritual of quiet. Turn off screens an hour before bed. Dim the lights. Step outside and breathe the night air. Let the sound of crickets, the movement of leaves, or the stillness of the stars replace the artificial hum of machines. These small acts prepare the nervous system for descent into healing. Then, when you lay down, listen inward. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly. Feel the rise and fall of breath. Notice how silence grows louder as you pay attention. This is the silence that heals. The body begins to entrain to it cell by cell like an orchestra tuning before the first note. Soon the music of repair begins, not with sound, but with stillness. Some call this sensory reset. Throughout the day, your senses are bombarded. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, all pulling your attention outward. At night, the system longs for release, for space to recalibrate. If you allow it, the reset happens naturally. If you resist with constant stimulation, the system grows confused. Healing slows. Think of silence as a nutrient as essential as minerals or vitamins. Just as your body cannot thrive without sunlight or water, it cannot thrive without stillness. The immune system relies on it. The nervous system repairs through it. The mind clears because of it. When you neglect it, you starve the most subtle yet vital part of yourself. There is also a spiritual dimension. Silence is the place where your personal story meets the universal rhythm. In stillness, the boundaries between self and cosmos thin. You realize you are not isolated, not fragmented, but woven into something larger. This realization itself is medicine. The body, when it feels connected, heals more fully. The cells, when they feel part of the whole, vibrate with greater coherence. Imagine lying beneath the stars, eyes closed, breath steady. For a moment, you cannot tell where your skin ends and the night begins. That sensation of merging, of belonging, is not illusion. It is recognition. It is your nervous system aligning with the truth that you are part of the same field as the stars themselves. And when you sleep in this recognition, healing flows more freely, as if the universe itself were carrying you through the night. Throughout history, wisdom keepers spoke of silence as a teacher. Desert mystics, forest shamans, mountain poets, they all knew that silence was not absence, but presence. And in that presence, the body found strength. Now science gives us the same teaching in new words. Silence resets the nervous system, repairs the brain, strengthens immunity. But the essence is timeless. So as you prepare for sleep tonight, ask yourself, what silence am I choosing? The silence of surrender, of presence, of openness, or the silence of distraction, of noise hidden behind screens and thoughts? The first will heal, the second will harm, and you alone hold the choice. Let this be your practice. Before you drift into sleep, breathe deeply, thank the day, release its weight, and step into the vast temple of silence. In that sacred hush, the quantum secret awakens. Healing becomes not something you chase, but something that rises naturally like dawn following night. When you honor silence, you honor yourself. And when you honor yourself, the night becomes more than rest. It becomes resurrection. As we arrive at the final stage of this journey, let us return to the essence. Sleep is not withdrawal, but initiation. Every night you are invited into a ceremony that requires no temple, no priest, no external authority, only your willingness to surrender. The moment your eyes close, you step into a field older than humanity, older than stars, where the body remembers how to heal. Think of this truth. Your body is not waiting for medicine to be invented. It already carries libraries of instructions for renewal. Hidden in your DNA and your fascia and your breath, in the water of your cells, lie the codes of restoration. But these codes do not activate through force. They activate through rhythm, silence, and alignment. And the most fertile soil for them is sleep. When you lay down tonight, understand that you are not doing nothing. You are entering the most powerful work your biology knows. Every cell listens. Every system reorganizes. The orchestra tunes itself to the frequency of life, guided not by effort but by surrender. This is the quantum secret. Healing is not something you achieve. It is something you allow. But permission is everything. If you enter sleep carrying only fear, resentment, and chaos, the body interprets this as instruction. It spends the night bracing instead of repairing. Yet if you enter sleep carrying trust, gratitude, and openness, you unlock the gates of restoration. The subconscious amplifies whatever you hand it last. This is why the moments before sleep matter more than most of the hours in your day. So I invite you, each night, to create a ritual, not of complexity, but of presence. Dim the lights. Breathe deeply. Whisper a word of gratitude. Release one weight from your chest. Visualize light weaving through your body, touching each cell with coherence. This is not superstition. It is signal. And signal shapes biology. Now consider this. Healing is not only personal. Each time you align yourself with this rhythm, you add coherence to the collective field of humanity. Just as one tuning fork can bring another into resonance, your alignment influences others silently. This is why your healing matters, not just for you but for everyone. A rested, coherent being radiates peace into family, community, even strangers. Your sleep becomes service. And perhaps this is the deeper purpose of the night. Not just to restore your body, but to restore the thread between you and the whole. To remind you that you are not isolated fragments, but a living note in a vast symphony. When you awaken from such nights, you do not simply feel rested. You feel connected. And connection itself is medicine. Imagine a future where thousands, millions, embrace this truth, where the night is no longer seen as wasted time, but as sacred practice. Where communities align with rhythm, where silence is honored, where gratitude shapes the subconscious. In such a world, healing would not be crisis, it would be culture. Humanity would not chase vitality, it would live in it. And it begins, always, with the small act of one person remembering. That person can be you. So as we close this journey together, I ask you not just to listen, but to live what you have heard. Tonight, when you close your eyes, let it not be routine. Let it be ceremony. Trust the intelligence of your body. Trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Trust that while you sleep, the quantum secret will weave coherence into your being. And when you wake, remember, you are not starting from zero. You are carrying the renewal of the night. Step into your day with this awareness and you will discover that healing is not something you visit occasionally. It is something you carry everywhere. A warm invitation. If this journey has touched you, I invite you now to join our community by subscribing to this channel, not as an obligation, but as a gesture of alignment. By subscribing, you are saying to yourself, I choose remembrance, I choose renewal, I choose coherence. And in doing so, you connect with countless others walking the same path of awakening. But more than subscribing, I invite you to interact, truly interact. Share your story. Tell us in the comments what you have experienced during sleep. What dreams have guided you? What moments of healing surprised you? What practices have changed your nights? Your words are not just for me. They are for the person who reads them at 2 a.m., searching for hope, searching for connection. You may be the spark they need. Together we are not just building an audience, we are building a field of healing, of remembrance, of shared wisdom. Your story matters, your voice matters, and your presence here transforms this journey from words into living community. So I thank you for listening, for remembering, for trusting. And I ask, will you share your heart with us? Will you let your story become medicine for others? The night awaits you. The quantum secret is alive in you. Step into it tonight and every night after.